Here to go on to chapter 2 of a book I wrote several years ago called Famous Famous. It describes what I call, what I teach, what I preach, what I live, quantum writing, how we merge the journal entries in our real life with our quantum writing, which is about what we do want in life. We don't take the time to write down anything that is less than preferred. We simply write about what we would like to see come true. And I write it in a lot of different ways, in a lot of different fashions, so that I'm not attached to one single outcome. I'm attached to the essence of it, how I'm going to feel. So yesterday we talked about how when I was learning to get a different career, I was questioning what was I going to do next. And I realized what I wanted in life. And some of the things that I mentioned yesterday, I won't go through the whole list. I knew I wanted to remain authentically me. I wanted to be surrounded by nature's beauty, have access to water, live on a land I could safely explore, have room to serve and feed other people, feed more body, minds, and souls than the day before, be an example of growth and trust, find the miracles and write about them. So it was the essence of how I wanted to feel once I got the thing, rather than being so focused on the thing, because the knowledge I have today isn't as high as it's going to be tomorrow or the next day or the next day. So I don't need to make decisions for future me. I just need to know how I want her to feel and set little breadcrumbs into my story so that I know which lane is mine and which exits are mine. Okay, so I'm going to just jump right into this. This is a book I did years ago when I was first learning to publish. It's got a stock image cover. I was first learning to format, and I found a couple of places that I would have done it differently now that I know a few more things. But I knew that in order to become a published author and to help other people publish, I needed to go through all the steps myself. So that was something I did, and this is one of my first books that I did. All right, I still practice quantum writing every single day, and Quantum Writing 300 is available on Amazon if you want to get started in it. That's a workbook that is kind of a fun way to open your mind into what you would want if nothing stood in your way. All right, let's get into it. Chapter 2. Jump into it. Make believe. Chapter 2. Happy crying is a part of my everyday life, and I'm more than fine with this now. I do not even attempt to muffle my moments of bliss. I bask in them. I step fully into the moment and take in all the details. I stop and note every aspect of every sensory input. This is a piece most of us miss in our master ability to create our own make-believe life. I want the ability to recall all the details. I want to use them in my quantum writing my story on purpose, with purpose. When I do that, I see miracles and magic, regularly leading to more tears of joy. Life gave me tears, and the tears gave me life. The more blissful occurrences and moments of gratitude I put in print, the more I imprinted them, the faster I became fluent in my own language. I was also able to understand others with this magical tiny overlap. Speaking with other magic seekers is a form of nourishment to us. The more I write about this tiniest blissful moments, the easier it is to find more. They're like magic tokens. My rooster is co-starring today. They're like magic tokens specifically for me. The more I detail the things I see on my frequency, the brighter they glow. The rewards get even more magical. It's my magic. Decoder ring or keys for special doors. For the science mind, see the reticular activating system or the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon. It works. The items were always there. I can simply see them now. I write only from this standpoint. I hold conversations from this place of unlimited expansion. I know what is challenging. I only write about the life I desire. A quantum love affair, The Man in the Glass, Quantum Writing 300, my retreats, this book, my brand, being fabulously feral, and the family are what we needed. Those who shine this bright need a place where everyone speaks the language, and I get to live here. The tiny overlap was so small and yet so powerful. The overlap of frequency changed the game for all of us. Once we learned to write in the quantum and share our story with people who understood, the stories came true and were even better. Quantum thinking became a symbol for our kind of people. In this ever-growing group, we understand how sacred and special it is to meet someone who believes our language exists, much less to speak it. We hold conversations that are sacred. There is no space for what they said, small talk, or the latest TV show. I've spoken my authentic language for so long, it seems almost dystopian to overhear a conversation on my rare venture into town. Our conversations are powerful, sacred, blissful, raw, honest, and authentic. Everyone grows and receives love in the process. It's truly magical when you trust yourself enough to become fluent in a language no one else speaks. In the short version, we believe in a language that contains miracles, magic, divine guidance, and make-believe. When we see something, we make our beliefs come true. This has been the story of all the genuinely famous, successful, joyful people I've enjoyed knowing or studying. I copied what they did. We believe, we make sure of it, we make believe, we put it in writing. This has been true for time and all eternity, from the Bible to Edison, Da Vinci, Oprah, Jennifer Aniston, Tony Robbins, Steve Harvey, Deepak Chopra. Insert any of the greats, and all of the way to Misty and her friends. All of us write the vision. If you believe it, write it. Even those taught to simply think or envision it often wrote a book about it. They ended up writing down their thoughts for others. Living in my written make-believe allowed me to decode my personal secret code. It's different for each of us. Mine is a secret language to communicate with my world. We can understand others with the same gift when we're on the same frequency. Once I was fluent, I wouldn't have it any other way. After all the hours of study, this was by far the highest communication I've ever experienced. It's like emotional cryptocurrency, a soul bliss buffet. Writing in this language allowed me to locate the misfiles in my upbringing. It felt like a word I had pronounced wrong for so long, the correct version initially felt wrong. It felt like having a professional coach tweak my form just a touch, and my skills improved exponentially. Writing helped me find my true thoughts on various matters in the proper format for my mind and body. Over time, I realized the humor in my hidden communication with myself. I've heard we attract what we give. The world is our inner mirror. I get it now. If I say something out loud to another person, place, or thing, it's always been a lesson for me, to the point of being comical. If anyone were to overhear me talking to my chickens, you would know how true this is. I realized that if I judged someone, they were always a prior version of myself that I needed to tend to internally. However, the game changed once I wrote down the wisdom I love to dish out and applied it to myself. I've been winning at my life ever since. My stories have become my reality. Speaking to others that spoke my language helped me become more and more proficient. The tiny overlap with the other bright, light, write it down people was making a difference for them and me. Once I knew my language, my scenery, and my characters, I knew what would go into my story and what would not. Life choices became much more manageable, and the hard times made sense. Those things I used to worry about, wondering if they were signs and symbols for me or simply some numbers in a row out of coincidence, finally made sense. They were real because I wrote them into my story. I created my symbols and signs. In the past, I had not kept a written journal long enough to have a way to measure my success. I wrote until I felt better, maybe 2 weeks at the start of a year or a month after a good breakup. Then the journal slipped into the nightstand until the next time my energy dropped. I would usually just start a new one rather than jumping into page 18 and say, here I am again, let me repeat everything I said last time. I was quite literally writing the same story over and over again. I had the written proof at the beginning of each of my journals. Designing my life required me to know myself better than checking in when I felt emotionally bloated or depending on an outside source to measure me. How could anyone else know what brings me bliss? How could anyone else know the right way to my path? No scale at the local store or physician's office could measure this for me. Quantum writing requires that I write consistently enough to create my own scales. Once created, I could hop on and off to check in when I needed accountability. What I found was that I didn't want to hop off. Instead, I found myself reaching for it daily. Like most things, real growth cannot be measured instantly, like you can with weight or a bank balance. The real growth took time to set and measure my continued progress. It also required that I trust myself. I was the only one who could track and record this type of massive success and change. I had to trust myself and continue to make progress, follow it, tend to it, protect it, and document it in writing. Real growth takes discipline over time. Many say it takes 10,000 hours of dedicated practice to be considered an expert. I did the math. It was 24 hours a day for 416 days, or 30 minutes a day for 54 years. Stay dutiful despite the circumstances is the message I received in meditation from my deceased father during a rough past. All right, this next one is quantum journaling. And I just want to say, for anyone who's watching, thank you. This is what I was writing. My son was still alive here. I was his full-time caregiver. I was going through an emotional, difficult time, a lot of challenges. And so I was writing into a place where I wanted to be. And I was making sure that I surrounded my place and my person with people who were going to think expansively and not wallow in sorrow with me. So it wasn't that they were bringing me out of a depression or bringing me out of a darkness. I just made sure to stay around people who practice positivity so that I could as well. Even though this thing is happening, that what is. However, what we want to think about, what we want to focus on, where we want all our attention to go is what we do want, not simply just what is. Okay. Let me see if I want to start this next chapter or hold it for the next day. I think we're going to hold it for the next day because the next one is a few pages long. I think I'm going to do a chapter a day. That was chapter 2. And this, again, it's just a very short book. You don't need to buy it, but it is on Amazon. Anything that you buy on Amazon with my name on it, Mistilei Wriston, those proceeds go to my favorite nonprofit, haydensray.org. Thank you so much for chapter 2 in Famous Famous, describing quantum writing in a real life mine. Love you. Have a great day. Misty Lee, Campground TBD, and haydensray.org.